Okay, picture this. You're on a yacht with your family, right in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. You've got that perfect blue water all around you, a nice gentle breeze. Everything is absolutely perfect. And then in a blink, it all just changes. Let's dive into how this dream family vacation turns into an absolute nightmare, a desperate fight for survival at the bottom of the ocean.
So who's on this boat? We've got Tom, his wife Julia, and their two kids, Casey and Ben. They're out on their yacht celebrating Ben's birthday. You know, it's one of those perfect days you'll remember forever, miles away from everything and everyone. And it really is perfect. Tom and Ben are trying to catch some fish, Casey's just chillin', lost in her music, and Julia decides, hey, I'm gonna go for a swim. The water is calm, it's peaceful, it's completely, utterly normal. But this is the last moment of normal they will ever know. It all starts with a terrifying, truly impossible question. What would happen if the single biggest thing on our planet, the ocean itself, just disappeared? The very first sign that something is terribly wrong happens while Julia's in the water. Out of nowhere, some unseen force grabs her leg and starts dragging her down. She's panicking, screaming for help, but her family can't even hear her. Just as she thinks she's done for, Tom spots her, dives in, and pulls her back onto the yacht. After that, the chaos just ramps up, fast. Casey gets a call from her boyfriend, and on his end, it looks like a massive storm is hitting before the call just glitches out. Then a huge pod of whales swims right past their boat, totally disoriented. And then fireballs start raining from the sky. And these aren't meteors, they're satellites. The world's technology is literally falling apart. All of a sudden, the compass on the yacht starts spinning like crazy. A piercing, high-pitched sound screams through the air. The boat gets thrown around by these violent waves. And then, one final catastrophic jolt knocks the entire family out cold. When they wake up, they're alive, thank God. But their world has been completely flipped upside down. They stumble out onto the deck, and what they see, it's just impossible. Their yacht isn't in the water anymore. It's resting on dry, cracked earth, surrounded by dead fish and wreckage from the ocean floor. The realization just hits them like a physical blow. Where there was once this endless, massive sea, there's now just a barren, alien desert stretching out as far as the eye can see. The ocean has vanished. But how? How is that even possible? Well, Tom looks at his compass, which is now pointing in the completely wrong direction, and he figures it out. A magnetic pole reversal. The Earth's poles have actually flipped, literally sloshing all of the planet's oceans over to the other side of the world. Just when you think things absolutely cannot get any worse, a faint signal crackles over the radio. It's a man named Noah, a submarine captain, also stranded on the seabed. He confirms it, pole reversal, and he gives them a terrifying deadline. The poles are going to flip back, and in about a week, the ocean will return, not gently, but as a single world-ending tsunami. And just like that, their problem shifts. It's no longer just about surviving a natural disaster. It's about surviving what that disaster left behind on the dry ocean floor. Because you see, they are not alone down there. They quickly find out there are two kinds of monsters at the bottom of the world. The first is human, another survivor, but he's desperate and incredibly violent. The second is something else, a swarm of mutated sea creatures, now perfectly at home on the dry land, and they are very, very hungry. Their first encounter is with the human. A man appears, limping, and Tom, being a good guy, goes to offer him some water. But it's a trap. The man lunges at Tom, viciously stabbing him with a harpoon, killing him right there in front of his wife and kids. As this killer comes after them, it's Casey who finds the courage to fight back, firing a flare gun that sets him and their yacht on fire. Julia and the kids manage to escape just as their yacht explodes. But the nightmare is far from over. As they're grieving Tom, they look back and see a figure walking out of the flames, burnt but alive. The killer is still stalking them. This is the moment Julia transforms. She's not just a scared mother anymore. She's a protector. She sets up an ambush, and when the killer walks into her trap, she attacks with a knife, driven by pure, unfiltered rage, and she ends the threat for good. They think the worst is finally over, but when they find the killer's body the next morning, they discover something absolutely horrifying. His corpse is being eaten from the inside out by these small, unnervingly aggressive crabs. They realize the true danger of this new world isn't just other desperate people. So the final leg of their journey becomes this frantic, desperate race against time. They're almost out of water, they're exhausted, they're grieving, and with every single step they take, the mutated sea life is getting closer. Julia manages to get Captain Noah back on the radio, only to get even more bad news. His instruments are showing that the tsunami is coming way faster than he thought. The week they thought they had, gone. They now have less than 24 hours to get to that submarine. Their final push is just a gauntlet of pure horror. A swarm of thousands of those mutated crabs attacks. They scramble onto a shipping container, forced to watch as other survivors below are just consumed. During the escape, one of the crabs bites Julia's leg, wounding her badly. And to keep going, she has to sear the wound shut herself with a lighter. They can see it. They can actually see the submarine. They are so close. But as they're climbing through a rocky path, the ground starts to shake. A massive rock slide comes crashing down, and a wall of stone slams down between Julia and her children. Trapped, injured, Julia makes the only choice a mother can. She screams at Casey and Ben to go on without her, to get to that submarine and save themselves. It's an absolutely heartbreaking decision, but it's the only one she has left. The kids make it to the sub, only to find Captain Noah bleeding out. His time is almost up. He tells them to get inside, save themselves. But Casey, she can't do it. She refuses to leave her mother behind, and she turns and runs right back toward the rock slide. As Casey is helping her wounded mom climb, that swarm of crabs is closing in right below them. They make a final, desperate run for the submarine, with Ben giving them covering fire from the hatch. They tumble inside just as the first tremors of the returning ocean begin to shake the entire world, and a wave hundreds of meters high appears on the horizon. They survived. When the tsunami finally passes, they open the hatch to a silent, completely destroyed city. They made it through the end of their world, sure, but they're left with this haunting question. In a world that's been wiped clean, what on earth comes after survival?